Morning guys, Saturday the 13th of June. Grey but quite still actually. Relatively warmish, so I think it will get a bit warmer through the day. Oh, I tell you what, you can tell that there's been more rain because there's normally way less water to jump over. There you go. So, this morning, I'm reflecting, I would call it. Yeah, reflecting a lot still about doing the event Thursday and the learning from it really. Every so often I have little moments where my head goes off to a place of, oh, if only I could have done. And also I was aware that there was one particular person who had left the event very early on, probably right in the middle of I remember the voice actually, right in the middle of the process where I was struggling to get my PowerPoint up. And it's funny how you know you've heard something, but then I had to sort of filter it out in a sense because I was still having to try and manage all my other emotions and feelings at the time. But then I realised yesterday that I had heard correctly. Somebody had left for whatever reason. So again, my head sometimes, occasionally, would go off to a place of, oh, I wonder, did they leave for this reason, that reason and the other? And then I'd really just sort of bring myself back and go, no, at 50 odd people, that one person left. It may have been nothing to do with me, it could have been something to do with that, but at the end of the day, I can't control what everyone else thinks and feels. So I've just sort of let that, I've sort of let that go actually okay, really. I think that's part of just being kind and compassionate to myself, not getting too hard and beating myself up over the head, about what ifs. And in terms of reflecting and learning, I think the piece is about going, well, what can I learn from it? And if I was to do again or something similar, what can I do differently? As opposed to, oh, I wish if onlys. So I think one of the things I would have clearly done and would do for a similar thing is send, just basically like send my slides in case something did happen. I'd have sent a copy to the other two coaches and to the AC events coordinator in the eventuality of. That's probably, but it's definitely one thing I would do. I also sort of pondered on other logistics, like for example, when I sent people into breakouts and asked when they came back, I'd said to nominate one key person to share the question they explored and one key sentence they wanted the group to, to hear from them. And because obviously wouldn't be obvious to anybody, would it? But because it was running over a bit because of the way it started, I could have asked to just hear from, I could have named a couple of breakout rooms, but at the time, because it was the first presentation, it felt really important for me to hear the, if you like, the collective voice of each breakout. So in hindsight, I could have cut that short, but on some level it felt important to hear from all those voices, even though I acknowledge it took a bit more time. I think very few, I think there's probably one or two, very few people actually what I call took the instruction, and I felt I was really clear about one sentence. Perhaps I was being unrealistic to think that, coaches, therapists, counsellors, anybody who works in this type of helping profession, I'm not sure they're renowned for keeping things to one sentence. Well, maybe that says more about me, but anyway. So that took a while, but hey ho. I did sort of wonder at one point whether, because there was a point where we all still actually had potentially 30 minutes each, even with the break. So at one point I perhaps could have made it a little bit clearer to one of the other speakers, just to really, keep it within that time frame. Because I was then aware that we had a last speaker who did actually have, shorter time. And I was mindful that a few people had, said they'd attended, they saw what, he was going to share and how he was trained. So they were also, really wanting to hear and see what that person had to say. So, I'm mindful they may have felt a little bit short-changed, so to speak. Yeah. So, but as I said, it's learning and saying what could I, what can I, potentially would I do differently next time. And also there's this way, Will. There's we won't get the recording until I think midweek next week, so that will be then a different reflection and learning, because once we get the recording, then I really want to really listen through to more the content and the things that were being shared and what was being said, and especially things that were being put in the chat, because that will be a real more of a learning for how we develop more of the workshops going forward. In fact, actually now, as I'm just sort of thinking that out loud, I mean, because it will be a little while before we can really consider, I think certainly next year really, for face to face, but actually we could perhaps consider some online conversations around it. So that's something to think about and discuss. I shall take the camera away because I don't think you want to see Willow doing the poo. So, on that note, guys, just reflection, I suppose, what are you learning from where you're at, what you're involved in, what you're up to today and this week, this month, what you're learning, and what will you do differently from your learning and moving forward. So have the rest of a great, sassy, super sonic Saturday, and speak to you later. Bye.